Hi everyone. So sometimes we talk all about what Agile is, but today we're going to have an interesting conversation. We're going to talk about what Agile is not.
So, guys, the first thing that we want to talk about is the fact that your team isn't agile if the only time that they're talking is at meetings, specifically at the daily stand up. So the daily stand-up is supposed to be that first meeting that you have for the day together. Well, not necessarily the first, but that meeting where you come together and you decide, what am I trying to achieve? How are we moving towards whatever the goal it is that we have identified for the sprint? But of course, there are several other meetings that you need to align and you need to discuss. But outside of that, your team should be constantly collaborating. Communication and collaboration, it's a constant must in order to ensure that we're heading down the right path. What say you, Shan?
Completely agree, because when you think about when you're in office, everybody is co-located and everybody who you need to perform the primary tasks for the day, they're supposed to be sitting at the same table. So if it is that you're only collaborating and touching base with those people, once you're having a formal meeting, so you're not even really talking about the work that is in progress, you're not raising questions, you're not reaching out to someone to get their opinion on how to do something or if what you're thinking is correct, it kind of makes me concerned. Like, I don't believe that, you understand the agile mindset and the agile principles in a way where it's a hand-in-hand thing and it's not a lone man over there doing his own thing. It's everybody working together, rowing together as if we're a rowing team. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Everybody rowing together, that shared understanding, us just figuring out what the best way is based on everything that the rest of us understands. So it's no one superstar just hammering away at everything. It's as a team, how is it that we're working together? And in order for us to make sure that we're making the best use, that requires collaboration and communication.
Well said.
What's the next thing we want to jump into, Shan?
All right. So you're not really agile if you have your plans laid out months in advance. And I say that to say because if at the end of a sprint review, for example, you've gathered your stakeholder feedback, feedback from other users, etc., and that hasn't changed your backlog, I'm very concerned because how then are you improving on what you've already built to make sure that the next thing that you're going to add to what you have is going to actually add the value that your stakeholders need you to add? You know what I mean, Nikki?
Perfect. And I think what you just said, Shan, just segues into the next thing that we wanted to talk about. You're not really agile if you're not talking to your end users. So yes, sprint review is one touch point, but there's so many other ways that you need to talk to the persons who are actually going to be interacting with your systems. We all know that we can sit and dream about many things and all the ideal and 120 features, but we also know that once we release those 120 features, more than likely 60%, if so much, is going to be used. So in order to make sure that you're delivering that value that Agile so emphasizes, it means that you have to definitely touch base with your end users, talk to them, understand from the get-go what it is they want. And while you're building that, also continue to touch base to see if anything has changed, if priorities has changed, if there's just anything else that they need or they no longer need, so that then you can figure out how to tweak your own backlog and how it is that you're moving forward.
Yes, I agree, Nikki. And we're notorious for saying this, that you want to make sure you're building the right thing the right way. So as much as you want to confirm as you're going along that you're building the right thing, you want to make sure that you're building it in a way where the customers or your end users will appreciate what you've delivered. You don't want to wait until the very end, once you've pushed it to production and you're like, voila, here you go, guys. The feedback coming in is like, they don't like the design, the process isn't clear, they're not sure if they're finished, they're not sure what to do next, they're stuck. You just don't want there to be any ambiguity around what you have built, how it is supposed to be used, and just the user friendliness of it all over. So,
and interestingly, Sean, I think that also ties into the next point that we wanted to raise, and it's about Big Bang. Now we all know what that means. Like we are used to like decades ago, as my son would say in the olden times, we would deliver, we would sit and we would plan and then we would make sure we're figuring out everything that we need to deliver. And it takes us 3 years to deliver what we want to, and it involves every single thing on God's green earth that we think should be in the particular solution. But while we're doing all of this, no conversation is happening with anyone. We are literally isolated and we're just hammering away, and the market is changing. Now, if in 2022 you're still doing that, you're definitely not agile.
That's right. And I think too, organizations that are undergoing an agile transformation, it takes them a while to figure out that big bang is not what agile is about. It takes them a while to understand that, you're trying to deliver one feature, one increment, one slice of the pie.
Smallest thing.
Right. Just to see, how your customers react to it and to see if it's, going to generate the value that you think it should. And then you can add to that. And then, it's very hard for them to understand that concept of just allow us to work in slices. We will deliver as we are going along. And I think too, once you're trying to help them to understand that, you're going to get value every step of the way rather than delaying 6 months before you get a chunk. You can get a small chunk in 4 weeks and we're going to try and give you a next little piece more chunk in another 4 weeks and you get a handsome piece of chunk in another 4 weeks. So you just give us some time so that we can build the right thing the right way, building in quality and making sure that the customers are interested and they like what we're doing. So.
But you said something that just clicked in my head, Shan. And I think what may be missing is that our responsibility in this space is to ensure that even for our stakeholders, our customers, and everyone, that we can demonstrate the value that will be delivered in those small pieces. Because I think that perhaps part of what is lacking is that when they think about the big bang, it contains everything, and you can see clearly that, okay, that means our end users are able to do A, B, C, D, and that is the impact that it will have on the business. But when you start to chunk it down, they're like, but if you give me this piece, it doesn't really change anything much. But if we are able to articulate and show how giving this piece makes a difference in an end user's life now, and it makes perhaps a process a little less tedious, or it brings in something else but helps the customer journey, then it also helps the conversation about why it is that we need to start steering clear of big bang. So I guess my point is that for us, we need to handhold a little, help them to understand why big bang may not be the best solution in this scenario, and how it is that we can start, as you said, delivering that value every step of the way in small pieces.
Yeah, and it's important for C-level executives that are along with these agile teams on these journeys to understand that you have to trust them at some point in time. If it is that you're mandating that, okay, we're undertaking an agile way of working, you're going to have to trust that if they say that delivering a slice is going to give you X value, or this is what value will look like, give them a chance, and don't let everything always be so hard and fast that if I'm not getting my entire pie, I don't want it. It makes it so much harder now for the team to say, okay, how do we still say we're agile if we have to deliver the entire pie, and we're not allowed to just deliver a slice. And two, I think C-level executives also need to realize that you have to reimagine what value looks like. Because as you're saying, the big bang is easy to understand and say, okay, if we spend 6 months doing this, the end result is this. But as you also pointed out, Nicola, getting, just even if it's small changes throughout the process is valuable to customers, especially if you say, okay, submit 3 documents online, and the next step is going to be you come in and you spend 10 minutes with us instead of 3 hours sitting at a desk. So, it's a give and take thing. We just have to figure out what is the balance that will work.
Yeah. And again, all of that takes conversation.
Right.
So I think on that note, today we'll wrap the first 4 in our series that we're thinking about. You're not really agile and if there's anything that also comes to your mind, please feel free to share it. We're always ready and open to have those conversations. Thanks for joining us. I think that touches the last point that we had for today, Shanna.
Yes, I'm making it run, so just 3 minutes we're talking now.
Jesus, be offense. Right can't this girl do me this?
I come going through.
So you do want to say something else, or you want me to say something else?
I don't know. The first one did do good. The second one done short too. But one, the last one, I already
But you
started
done this. But you done this from the floor.
No, repeat what you say. You know what you did that. So say it
I'm
again.
saying.
That's a good segue. There's a kid with the segue there.